But what I always tell myself, when I'm facing that pain and when it hurts really bad, I know that I'm going to be that much better for dealing with it, like face on, head on. That's where you get better, is right there. If it's not bothering you at all, you're not uncomfortable, you're not really getting that much better. So if you feel that and harness it and just know that, like, this is how greatness is achieved, this is where everyone else would quit. People don't want to get to this point. They want to just say that they went on their run and then, okay, I did what I needed to do, and then now I'm going to get home and then get on with my day. But for me, it's like, this is a chance to become great.
An entrepreneur straight out of New York City, Michael Chernow. What's cracking?
$10,000 pull-ups, dude. 10,000 pull-ups.
And one.
10,001?
Yeah.
Wow. So you threw that extra one in just because you were just like,
The last one was for my wife.
let's go.
Yeah, the first 10,000, I was like, no big deal. And then the last one was dedicated to her.
10,001 pull-ups in 24 hours. And when we were talking earlier, you told me that you had broke the previous record, the record that you came to break, with 7 hours remaining in the 24-hour period.
6 hours. 18 hours in, broke the record of 92.50 at the time. And then the 750 was just the cherry on top.
So did you just outpace yourself, or did you plan on kind of hitting that mark at that point?
No, I've been there before, so this isn't my first rodeo, I guess you could say, because I did the 8100 and it took me 23 hours and some change, so almost the entire day of just nothing but pull-ups. And I know when you get to those wee hours of the night and in the early morning, you start to fade quick, just because your body naturally wants to go to sleep already.
Like, what goes first? What is it? Grip? Is it shoulders? Is it lats?
Your hands will get torn up. So I knew that it was going to be hard for me to start gripping the bar when I got into the later hours of the day. So I knew if I could build like a buffer of a few thousand, then I'd be sitting pretty to where I could just kind of coast and then fall into the record that way, which is what I did.
And so there's no way to, like, your hand, like I was tuned in when this was going down.
Yeah.
I just saw slowly but surely your hands just start to literally fall apart.
Yeah.
What happened to your hands? I've had pretty bad rips in my hands from doing heavy kettlebell things and working, toe to bars and muscle ups, but nothing, not even close to like what you had on your hands. I mean, I think you had like over a quarter size just hole in your hand.
Yeah, well, do 10,000 pull-ups and then you'll understand what happens in the hands. But there's really nothing
you can do.
I don't think there's anything you can really do. So I did 4,100 before my hands were shredded. I did the 8,100, my hands were shredded. Then I just did the 10,000, and I tried to change the protocol every single time. I just think pain and your hands being torn up is part of it. Mm-hmm. It can't be.
And you can't like
there's
grips, wraps won't like.
Oh, I had everything. I had everything you could possibly want, and everything was good in theory, but it's just
what it is.
It's just what it is, yeah, because it's just 2 contact points right on the bar, and your hands aren't really meant to do 10,000 pull-ups, I don't think, no matter what you try to do. They're just kind of softer. It's just skin on the bar. All those reps, all that momentum, it's just going to shred. So you just got to know you're going to be facing some serious pain if you try to go for this record.
You just said, I don't think we're meant to do 10,000 push-ups. The truth of the matter is, you're the only one on the planet that's ever done it.
10,000 pull-ups.
I mean, pull-ups. 10,000 pull-ups. You're the only person. I mean, isn't that's got to be a weird feeling, right? Like, you are the only human to date that's ever done something.
It's crazy because people ask me, I was just asked the other day, they're like, how does it feel to still have the record? Because I don't know if you know, when I did the 8,100, it was broken in less than a day by an Australian. So across the world, less than a day, I did 8,100, new world record, and then now it's beaten by 500 in less than a day. So I didn't have time to celebrate, really. It was just like, oh, well, that sucks. So they asked me, It's been now 2 months that I've had it, the undisputed title, whatever you want to call it. And I was like, honestly, I don't really think about it. I'm just like, yeah, I did that. I expected myself to do it. Now it's on to the next.
Mm-hmm. Do you think that Australian is coming for the record?
I don't think so. I mean, he's a police officer, so he has like, I think that was just what he was doing on the side, on top of everything else. So like, hats off to him. He's legit, but yeah, he's a police officer in Australia, and I think it took him like 10 months to train for it. So I just think on his time off, he was doing nothing but pull-ups. I think that's probably, I don't think he was going to go for it again. There's only one other person who's ever broke the record, then had to break it again, and that was Kane Eckstein in Australia, and then myself. So normally it's not something that people want to revisit because it hurts. It takes everything from you. It hurts pretty dang bad.
And how long did you recover from that?
Well, so I did that on February 1st, and then I ran the Austin Marathon on February 16th, my fastest marathon ever. So it was a few days off away from the gym. Then I just started to run because your hands don't have anything to do with your legs. So it was just back to it.
Truett Hanes, stoked to be here with you. And, we've been in communication for the last, I don't know, probably 6 months or so.
Yeah.
I feel stoked to be able to work with you at Creatures of Habit.
Likewise.
From the minute, like, I just started getting into your stuff, and now this is the first time we're actually meeting in person. You are the guy that you 100% portray on social media. You are a straight up humble, super down to earth, cool dude that just likes getting after it.
Yeah.
And I think that's like a very, very unique thing.
Sure.
Most people that do things that are really, really difficult and really, really challenging have a bone to pick or a chip on the shoulder or
Sure.
Something that they're really out there trying to prove. And I'm not saying that you're not trying to prove something, because obviously when you do that, you're trying to prove something to yourself most of the time,
of course.
Right? But you just don't look like the guy that just broke a world record for doing pull-ups and runs marathons in 2 hours and 30 minutes. You just you don't wear it on your sleeve. Mm-hmm. And so I just wonder, I question, like, why do you do these things?
That's a great question, and honestly, so I think that there's a battle sometimes for the person that I want to be and the person that I am, because I think the person that you saw today, that is actually me. I just let the work speak for itself, and I like to have a good time and get along with everybody. But sometimes in training, when I want to be the best in the world at something, or I'm going to be competing head-to-head with someone else, I can bring that out of me. And how I explained it before is like, I don't know if you've ever seen Spider-Man 3, where he like has the Venom Spider-Man outfit, and then he kind of turns into a bad guy, Spider-Man. Notoriously a good guy. He ends up like killing Sandman. Mm-hmm. And then so he was just like trying to, because he thought that he killed Uncle Ben. It was a whole thing. And then he's like, I finally got my revenge and I killed him, and now I feel good and I feel powerful. Sometimes I tap into that for a competitive advantage. And then, and then so I'm not so happy-go-lucky in those cases. I'm like, I'm here to win, and it's me against you, and I'm going to show you that I'm better than you. And then other times I'm like, I want everyone to have fun and feel good. But there's just a little bit of an edge that I give myself sometimes in the face of competition, to where it's like, okay, so it's you against me. You really think you have what it takes to beat me? Well, I'm going to show you that you're wrong. So like, I don't know. Sometimes I'm that, and then sometimes I'm the other way. But a lot of the times it's just me against me, Just like the pull-ups, I said that I was going to do it, so I'm going to do it. I want to be a man of my word. And I was telling Scott earlier today that that's what separates you from a lot of people. If you actually do what you say that you're going to do, then you're going to be different from 99% of the world. Because a lot of people have these big plans, but when it comes down to it, they're not going to see it through. It's like the pull-ups, I just posted the other day, it was a 7-year journey. 7 years of just like, I don't know what's going to come of this, but I'm going to show up every single day. And I think we know a lot of people aren't willing to do that. When there's no end goal in mind, they're like, why would I do this? Why would I just like kill myself doing this single exercise for no reason, no payoff? And it's like, well, I don't know what's going to come of this, but I know that I'm not going to give up. You might, but I'll see you down the road, and it's going to make sense when I get to the top. You're going to know why. It's because I put in the work that people weren't willing to do. So me versus me against my own word. And I'm always going to see that through, because at the end of the day, that's all that you have is your word.
Do you stop and smell the roses?
I'm proud of myself, like looking back on these things that I do. The pull-up record, it's just like I'm thankful that I am who I think that I am. I kind of proved it to myself. You want to prove yourself right, because you got to live with yourself at the end of the day. And then so I'm thankful that I was able to see that through and follow up on that. And it's good to have it like in my back pocket, especially when I'm pushing myself during these marathons, the ultra marathons, anything that I'm tackling. It's like, I know that I can do this. I've done things like this before, but I don't really sit and dwell on the fact that like, man, I'm the world champ for pull-ups. I'm just like, it just happened because I put in the necessary work. It's not like it was like serendipitous, like I just stumbled upon it. It's like, yeah, of course I did that because I did what was necessary. And then so now I'm going to, whatever else I'm trying to tackle, I'm just going to act like I have nothing. I have to get this for survival, and I'm going to give my absolute all. And I'm not going to conquer this just because I might have had an accomplishment in the past. It's like, I'm just going to empty the tank on whatever it is I'm trying to tackle. But yeah, it's just on to the next, really.
So I want to go back to one question, because I think it's actually a really interesting one, and I can totally identify with it. This ability to be a happy guy, have a lot of fun, get along with everybody, but when it comes down to competition at times, when it's really sort of when you're in the face of it, there's a switch that you have the ability to flip on and off.
Yeah.
And I think I can only speak for myself, but I would imagine, I want to ask your opinion.
Yep.
When do you does that switch at times kind of just like flip itself? Or is it something intentionally where you're like, okay, this is now I'm a warrior, and now I'm going in for the actual kill, and the only thing that's going to stand in my way is finishing. So whatever's in the way, I'm going to kill.
Yeah. Yeah, no, it is. You don't really know it's time until it's time with that. So I had an instance before where during the 8100, the first pull-up attempt, I was feeling really sorry for myself to where I was even thinking I wasn't going to get it, like I was going to quit. And then
do you remember that? Let's talk about that.
Yeah.
Do you remember what that inner dialogue was with yourself at that moment?
Yeah. Yeah, it was I had stomach issues throughout the day because I was eating stuff that I wasn't used to, which was completely my fault. But I started to stack up these excuses as to why I wasn't going to get it, and then what I was going to tell everybody. Like these excuses already written out in my head of like, oh, well, it just didn't go as planned, and then I'm going to come back better next time. And then I was even thinking that like maybe there won't be a next time. And then I was thinking, well, what's really going to happen to me if I just keep going? Like, honestly, am I going to die if I just keep going? No. If anything, it's just going to hurt a little bit worse. But guess what? It's just pain. Like, it's going to end eventually, right? So I just told myself, no matter what happens, no matter how badly it hurts, I'm going to grab that bar every 30 seconds and bust out these reps until I can't anymore. And then, obviously, I never got to a point to where I couldn't. Every time I grabbed the bar, I was able to successfully perform a few reps. So then that told me that it was just my mind trying to play tricks on me. It's like it tries to preserve you, obviously, and I think that's like to your benefit sometimes, but also when you're trying to do something that no one's ever done, it's going to be to your detriment. So I had to flip the switch, and then so that was at like 6,600 where I was feeling sorry for myself. And then I got to a point to where I was like, okay, I'm just going to keep going and see what happens. I got to around 7,000, and then I got like another life in me, to where I was like, well, I only have 1,000 left. You know how many times I've done 1,000 in training? Like, I can really do this. I have a few hours on the clock. Let's give it our absolute all and see what happens. And then I remember thinking when I got to like 7,700, that's when I brought it out of me, to where I like, there's just a few people in the room, probably like a dozen or so. And my brother, I had him put on Suicide Boys. I don't know if you know who those guys are. They're just like a rap group, 2 white dudes from New Orleans. And we love them. We love them. We're huge fans. But anyway, that music pumps me up more than anything. I had him blast that up on the stereo. I put some shades on, and I found that, like what you're talking about. I flipped the switch, and I remember saying out loud to the crowd, the record at that time was 8,008. And I said, 8,008 is too easy. Like, they messed up by leaving me with this much time left and that little amount of reps to get. Too easy for me. Just before I was ready to quit. But now, since I flipped that switch, it's like, you got to be kidding me. This is easy. So it's just, you never really know until you know. And if you don't have it, then you don't have it. If you do have it, it's going to come out. And then so luckily, the last few times I've put myself in those situations to where it's like, do you have what it takes to be the best at something? And I've been able to find out that I do. So it's like, it's a really fascinating thing to find out, and you don't really know if you're that guy until you're put in those situations. And unfortunately for a lot of people, those situations are 23 hours in to an endurance competition, and it's not something, it's a cool story to tell, and it's like, yeah, I am that guy. A lot of people aren't, and a lot of people don't even want to find out what it takes to become that, but I guess I am. So yeah, it's just something that you got to find within yourself.
And do you think at the end of it all, it's really in an effort to like live life for all its glory, like just like live life to the fullest, and just like, what do you think it is? What, because I obviously you come from a family of savages, right? I mean, I'm sure you were raised in such a way that like being a man of your word was very important. And like, what do you think? Because I'm sure, you know, Truett Hanes is 28 years old. You got a long journey, dude.
Yeah.
Like, I would argue that, you know, there's a lot in that tank. What do you think it's all for, man?
Yeah, just growing up, I will say everything was revolved around competition. It was my brother and I going head to head in a lot of things. And my dad, you know, and I think this is kind of a lost art today with a lot of people that I just see online, but competition, it should be hard. You shouldn't like go to a race and be like, you know what, today I'm just going to have fun. Like, if it's your job, I want you, at least this is how I was raised, to give your absolute everything. And then if you fall short, then you fall short, and you got to like live with that. You're not a winner just because like you showed up, you know? So my dad, just to give this perspective, he's a big time hunter. He loves to hunt, and he's made a career out of it. If he doesn't, he goes on a lot of hunts a year. If he doesn't fill any of those tags, or like rather just like one of them, if one of those tags isn't filled, he feels like an absolute failure. Like, it's, you win or you lose. That's life. And then so that's what my dad told us growing up. Either you're a winner or you're a loser. And at the end of the day, as long as you give your best, though, then I'm proud of you. So my best, for whatever reason, I took a liking to pull-ups. I wanted to either win or lose at pull-ups. So that gave my life purpose, and I took it as far as I could possibly take it. And now I'm a winner. I was a loser. I failed before. April 2023, failed dramatically. I only did 4,000. The record was 8,000. I wasn't even close. And guess what? I could look myself in the mirror and be like, okay, you're a loser today. You're a loser. At least you tried, right? But that's not good enough for us. we got to win because we have what it takes to win. So let's take it all the way. So I just think I want to find out what I'm made out of. And I think there's a version of myself to where I was cool with April 2023 happening and being like, you know what? I tried my best and I lost, and now it's okay. I'm just going to go on with my life. That's not for me. Pull-ups isn't for me. The record isn't for me. I'm not that guy. And I didn't want to be that guy. It's like, no, I think I can become the world record holder, and I'm going to give my absolute everything to see if that's true or not. So it's just the competition aspect of life. That's what gets me going. Every day that I wake up, that's what gets me going. And honestly, my dad used to always tell us as kids, do you want to be normal or do you want to be great? And then so having that mindset as a kid and hearing that over and over, it's like, well, who do I want to be? I'll wake up in the middle of the night and be like, did I do everything that I could do to become great today? And
when you were a kid, you would think that way.
Yeah. Yeah, just because it's, like I said, it's kind of a lost art. It's always been physically motivated for us. A lot of people in school, it's like, well, I want to get good grades, whatever. And that was important for us as well. But it's like, no, physically, what can you do? Because that is all encompassing of mental strength, spiritual sometimes, physical. That's just what we were always drawn to. That's what my dad has always been focused on. So it's like, how far can we take this? And that's just what I've kind of identified my entire life with. And yeah, it's just seeing what I'm made out of.
Yeah, it's such an interesting conversation and topic, because I'm a dad, right? And we were talking about kids and, earlier today.
Yep.
I go back and forth all the time because I am also just like a physically, like I love to challenge myself physically, and I have for a long time. And because I agree with you, I think when you are able to challenge yourself physically, it encompasses all the senses. Yeah. You know what I mean? It really does, right? Like having the mental fortitude to just put your head down and not stop until the job is done is really, really difficult for many, many, many people, although possible. That's the crazy thing, right? Like possible for anyone who's willing to just keep doing it.
Yes.
Yeah.
It's
just that not a very, 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 very small percentage of people are willing to keep doing it. I battle with my sons because most kids don't want to push as hard as they can, don't want to show up to compete. They're honestly, you have to almost, and I mean, at least with my kids, and I have had a lot of conversations with other parents about this. It's either you force them to do what they don't want to do for the greater good of their lives, or you settle for mediocrity with your children. And it's a tough conversation, right? Because
it is tough.
My wife, she has no interest in mediocrity, but she also has no interest in me pushing them the way I would want to push them if it was solely up to me.
Absolutely.
Did your dad push you guys?
Yeah. Yeah, but I will say, so this is a very important conversation to have because he was a bad guy to us as kids growing up because of that. Mm-hmm. We're like, oh, Dad wants to make us run 10 miles today, and I don't want to, but he's going to make us anyway. So it was almost viewed as like a punishment in a sense to go and run with him, even though I think he was just trying to figure it out as a dad too. And I wouldn't even recommend the way that that he went about it. It's just like it kind of got lucky because like kids are so different. Like your temperament of a child, just sometimes it works, sometimes it doesn't. Like I don't think it would work with my sister. She hasn't really taken a liking to running or whatever it is, or the pull-up record, or even my brother. He was a ranger, and he's seriously the toughest and most physically gifted, one of the most physically gifted people that I know. But he doesn't really go for like the pull-up record or things of that nature. It's just like it happened to be me that took to what my dad was trying to teach us. But I think we were talking earlier. You had kids when you were later in your life.
32.
32. Yeah. My dad, they had my brother after a year of being married. So then it's like he was 29 when I was born. So then he was 26 when my brother was born. You're still like, I'm 28 now. So I'm older than he was. And I was like, I'm still trying to figure things out. So the fact that he's like raising kids and at my age and then trying to just figure life out for himself, his own career, and then also raise sons to be what he thinks is like the right way of like, because no one really checked in on him, how he was doing growing up. So he wanted to make sure that he was there and pushing us so that we're on the right path. There's no really blueprint for the most part on how you raise kids to be different and to stand out. So the way that he knew was just like, well, they're going to put in more work than everyone else, because if you put in the average amount of work, you're going to be average. If you put in a little bit extra, you're going to stand out. So, I mean, my brother and I both set the elementary school mile, which was like a big deal for us. We're like, wow, it looks like my dad was actually right, because we both set the record, and like they announced it over the school.
How old were you guys then? What grade?
5th grade, so 10. And when you're 10 years old and you're the fastest kid in school, that's a big deal. They're like, oh my gosh, like, hey, there's that kid. He set the school record.
Fastest kid.
Yeah. Back then, like that's like money today to individuals.
When did you guys start running with your dad?
So I can think back to one instance. I was 5 years old, and Hayward Field is where they hold the Olympic trials for track. And then it used to be open to the public. They don't allow that anymore. But I was 5 years old, and then we were just running around the track. And then, like a couple hours went by, still running. And then it got night, everyone left, and it was just me, my brother, and my dad running still. And then I made it to 20 laps. And my dad was like, I can't believe it. He's still going. 20 laps, so that's, what is that, 5 miles?
And you were just you were happy to do it. That was something that was fun, or
I think because it was my dad was making it such a big deal. Like, he's like, this is amazing. I can't believe you're still going. And then I'd come around like lap 17 and then still go. And he's like, you're going to go again? This is insane. And then so I just think that felt really good for me as a kid. And then I was like, oh, he seems to like this. If I keep going and like physically, I'm just pushing myself. And then so I just
you're making me. It's like it's making me emotional, man.
Yeah.
Because I kind of think like, I have taken the stance as a dad to just, instead of push them or make them, I've just sort of taken the stance, and honestly, it's in defense of myself, because I don't want to fight with my wife about it.
Yeah.
Right. Like I understand her point of view. Don't force, don't push. I get it. So what I've kind of done is I've said, hey, like, they're going to come with me into the gym. Mm-hmm. They don't have to train if they don't want to. I'm going to do everything in my power to get them excited to train. Mm-hmm. But they're going to watch, they're going to see their dad doing this every single day. I do believe that they do what they see, not what they're necessarily told.
You got to lead by example for sure. Yeah. If my dad wasn't out there doing it himself, then we'd be like, who is this guy telling us that we need to run a half marathon today by ourselves? Like, but the fact that he was right there alongside us, oftentimes, like seriously, just we would either ride our bikes or run alongside him, and he'd be there doing it with us.
I think, but I think what your dad did, and I'm sure you're incredibly grateful for it now, looking back on it. I'm sure that I can't speak for you, so you should answer this, but I would imagine that there was a number of years there where you didn't love that, right?
No, I hated it actually. Yeah, so I didn't really understand what he meant, but now I get it as an adult. We were talking about this earlier, but people quit things, like when it's 10 years down the road and you got to show up every single day, a lot of people are going to give up. So if you have this work ethic that my dad instilled in us of like every day we're going to try to get better, and then that's just second nature to us now as kids, and like physically, especially physically, people will just give up. Like and I didn't realize this until I got a job at a grocery store throughout college. But I was just talking to people about like their gym routine, and then I was stunned to find out that like people don't work out every day. I was like, what do you mean? I was like, you mean tell me you don't work out every day? That was just like an absolute given. Of course I'm going to work out every single day because like that's just the way that we were raised. We're just trying to get better. And then so now seeing that like these records and marathons, it's really easy to stand out for me just because I don't give up. Like it might take a few years, but of course I'm going to be doing this anyway. So I'm just going to keep getting better and better and better. And then people are just, they kind of fall off. They lose motivation, whatever it is. But yeah, I mean, he just drilled in us the daily discipline. If you want to get anywhere in this world, you got to be willing to put in the work.
I don't think that there's any more powerful way a human being can build confidence than physical fitness. I don't think that there is, and you know, it's interesting because I actually never really thought about this. Like when you're talking about running around the track with your dad, and your dad, you know, basically giving you accolade for doing it, and
positive reinforcement.
As you're going around. That was just confidence building. Mm-hmm. It was straight up confidence building, and a lot of kids struggle with confidence, right? From ages 6 to 16, there's a good 10-year period of time where confidence is like hard to come into, right? You're just becoming into your own skin and feeling, yourself. A lot of kids, especially, and me, like for sure me, I wanted nothing more than to get out of my own skin at that age because I had a pretty rough situation at home. But it's just inspiring to hear that because I really do think that my kids, both of them, could really use that confidence lift, because none of their friends are doing that. Like parents don't do that anymore, honestly. I don't think I'm really good friends with a guy named Joe DeSena. Do you know who Joe is?
Ooh, sounds familiar.
Joe is the founder of Spartan Race.
Oh, okay. Yeah.
Joe is a very unique character. Also, absolute savage. I'm sure he and your dad are buddies. And Joe is like, when I talk to Joe about, he's like, no, he literally will tell me. I used to have a standing 5:20 a.m. call with Joe. We would both be in the sauna, in our own saunas, and we'd call each other at 5:20 in the morning and just talk for like 15 minutes. Mm-hmm. And this was like a big topic of conversation. This was over COVID, and he'd be like, force them to work out every day. Force them. Fight with your wife and force your kids. And I'd be like, Joe, he's like, give them to me for 2 weeks. Yeah. Just drop them off with me for 2 weeks. Uh-huh. He really does believe in this, how you build a man, and I don't know if he would feel the same way about if he a daughter. I don't think he has daughters. I think he only has boys, 2 boys. But I do think that there is some real strength, because most, like you said, human beings are conditioned to want to quit when it gets hard. I think we're all conditioned that way. Comfort is like, I forgot the guy who wrote this book, Michael Easter. I think he wrote a book called The Comfort Crisis. Yep. And like, we are in the thick of it. We're in the thick of it, and that's why guys like you stand out in such a powerful way, because we are conditioned to run from the things that actually make us feel good at the end of it, right? Yeah. Like we run to the things that are easy, that are essentially why 42% of the United States of America is considered obese. Truly, 42%. 1 of every 2 people in this country is obese, because comfort has become king, right? And I think, whether you know it or not, people like you, and I would categorize people like you and David Goggins and Joe DeSena and Cam Hanes and this genre of human that is just like, no, like, no, that's not what this is. if that was what if what we're experiencing now as a mass like culture was 300-400 years ago, the human race would not have made it.
Right.
You know what I mean?
Yeah.
Like, think about that.
Yeah.
Right? Like, if 42%, well, that's only the people that are categorized obese. If 75% of the population were quitters and didn't want to fight and show up every day, we wouldn't have made it.
No.
You know?
Yeah. So, I mean, what really clicked in my mind was I don't necessarily think that I'm talented or physically gifted in really any way. But what I will say is what really has clicked and started to click for me is like the only difference between myself and someone who wins these events, whether it's the record for pull-ups or marathons, ultra marathons, is an immense amount of work. And like, it might not be a year or two down the road of everyday effort. Maybe it's going to be like 5 or 10 years, but an immense amount of work can take any single person, just about, as long as you don't have like any extreme physical ailments, which I don't. I'm pretty healthy, but things don't really come easily to me at all. But if you're just willing to put in the work, that's the only thing, then you can be one of the best. Then shoot, like that it was such a big unlock for me. It was like, man, I mean, I know that we're kind of drawn as a society just for the quick dopamine hits, you know, like just the food. Even you can order food on your phone and get whatever you want. Like, what are you in the mood for? You can get any food from anywhere in the world delivered to your doorstep, and it's not even that much money, really.
You don't even have to get off the couch.
Don't even have to get off the couch. No, it's great.
You don't even have to pick up your phone. You can say, "Hey Siri," or order me the best double cheeseburger.
No, just like this, just laying there. But yeah, what the heck was the point of me saying that?
Just that you know that you figured out that it's all about how much work you're willing to put in.
Oh yeah, but yeah, so it's like just how easy it is to be comfortable. But if you're just willing to just put in that work, because you know the world is just so accustomed to having everything given to them, it's just, you can stand out so easily because, like you just said, 42% of the world or of America is considered obese. It's like, man, so get rid of those people now. Like the people that you're going to be competing against, it's a smaller number now. And then the people that aren't considered obese at this point, they're going to end up quitting. So you can account for that. And now you're just like, there's barely anyone out there that's just showing up every single day and that has a desire to become like the best in the world at something. You're talking like a few individuals. And then so I'm just like, once I just realized how simple it is to become good because most people aren't disciplined, then that was like, man, I can really take this to the next level. And thankfully, I've been able to.
What about push-ups? Have you ever thought about push-ups?
Well, the world record there is absolutely insane.
What is it?
It hasn't been broken for like 30 years, but it's like 40-some thousand in 24 hours. Wow. So what is that, like 2,000 an hour?
Wow.
Which if you break that down, I think it's like 34 a minute.
Wow.
So I mean, I thought about it and then I quickly didn't think about it anymore.
Well, so I also heard that the world record plank is something like 18 hours.
The world record plank, I know that, it might be like, I thought it was like 12 hours.
Hey Siri, what's the world record for a plank hold?
Here's an answer from Wikipedia.
Guinness World Records lists the record for longest duration of front plank resting on elbows as 9 hours, 38 minutes, and 47 seconds, set by Josef Selek from the Czech Republic. Jesus, 9 hours, 38. That's crazy. I did a plank off with Kari Pierce. You know Kari Pierce? Mm-hmm. Kari Pierce is one of the most dynamic athletes I've ever met in my life. She competed at CrossFit Games many, many times. I think she came in second or third a few times. And we did a plank off together. And I held a plank for 18 minutes, and I thought that was pretty damn good in push-up position.
Yeah.
And she held her plank for 37 minutes just for fun.
Jeez,
like
yeah.
she just, you know.
Yeah.
So 9 hours, I think. I don't even know. That sounds insane. I want to kind of segue into habit and routine. Mm-hmm. We are on the Creatures of Habit podcast, and habit and routine has been the sort of foundation and catalyst to like my success in life and sort of everything I've done. What is habit and routine? Like, what does that mean for you? Like, how important is habit and routine for you?
Oh, that's my entire life. I seriously, I don't know who I would be if I didn't have my habits and routines that I do every single day. But yeah, it's just like I pregame going to the gym or going on a run by doing a set of workouts, like a series of workouts that I do 100 push-ups every single day, 100 pull-ups every single day, 100 sit-ups every single day, and 100 air squats. And then that's like just to get me going for the day. And then I'll go and crush a gym workout, and then I'll run usually like 10 miles at least every single day. So it's like if I don't have those foundational things, I am not me, is what it feels like. So no matter where I am, I usually am able to do all that because it's like apart from that, I don't really know what to do. That just gets me going for the day. That's just who I am at this point. So yeah, I'm just like everything is pretty dialed, even to like what we eat. No matter where we are, we try to eat the same thing because I feel great every day, so I want to feel that way every day, and that comes from eating and training the way that I do every single day.
You know, it's so interesting that you say that too. The 100 push-ups, 100 sit-ups, 100 pull-ups, 100 air squats. Before I got into strength training, I was doing Muay Thai kickboxing, and I was running, and so I didn't really have any kind of like I just never for whatever reason I just never thought about weights. No, you know, I didn't grow up lifting weights, and so every single morning I would do 500 push-ups and 1,000 crunches, and that was kind of like how I started my morning in the bathroom after my prayers. My wife just knew that like I was in the bathroom on the floor doing sets of 50 push-ups and then 150 crunches, 50 push-ups, 150 crunches, 50 push-ups, 150 crunches.
Yeah.
And I think that there's something so powerful about setting yourself up in that way in the beginning of the morning. Mm-hmm. Like not leaving the house until something like that is done. Is that something that you developed yourself, or is that something that you think was sort of given to you?
That is something just for like my own mental well-being that I've just kind of picked up on my own over the years. I'd like feeling strong every day like that, and that just kind of that taps into like almost every body part for me, at least like the main ones, and it just kind of gets me going for the day. It honestly like it energizes me for the rest of the day to work out. I'm at that point to where like even exercising is a catalyst to exercise more. So no.
Like, what does your morning routine look like right now? Typically on a good day, you're home, you're not traveling, morning routine.
I'll wake up, drink coffee, eat breakfast. I'll do those workouts that I just mentioned. I'll go to the gym, I'll come back home, and then I'll go on a run, the 10 miles. And again, like that's if don't have like a goal in mind, but like since I've been doing I'm training for this last man standing race coming up in May. I was doing 20 miles a day and just trying to up that mileage, so it's like I'll still do those morning workouts that I mentioned, and then now instead of going to the gym, I'll just do the 20 miles. So
you're doing 20 miles a day every day?
Yeah, that was the plan, and then I got the call to do the Knoxville Marathon, and then so I just went and did that. So I only made it I did that 3 days in a row, and then I got the call, and then so I had to rest up a few days and then go and run the marathon. But yeah, it's just every single thing that I do is just around exercising and trying to get better for that day, because if you stack these days up, then there's no telling what you're going to be able to accomplish. But
when you're training, when you're running those 10 or 20 miles, are you running at a pace, or are you just kind of like trying to get the miles in? Are you pushing hard?
Yeah, that's That's one thing that I recently just talked about. I forget who asked me, but if you can, a lot of people when they're given like these high mileage weeks, they kind of lollygag in a way, just because it's like, as long as I get the mileage done, then that's good enough. But for me, it almost kind of haunts me. It's like, how good could I have become if every single mile that I ran counted? Like I made it count. I pushed myself hard. So even though I did the 3 days of 20 miles back to back to back, all those miles were like 7-minute and under pace, just because I want to know how fast. And I just think if you're pushing yourself hard, only good things can come of it. You're just going to get that much better. So I don't really, when I set out to go on a run, sometimes I tell myself, well, let's just go easy today. And then I think about something that just gets me going. And it's like, oh man, I got to make sure I'm getting better. So then I just pick up the pace.
So when you're doing those runs and you're in it, is there a moment where, because I'm just trying to think back on like me and running. So are those runs flat or are they hilly?
It depends.
You'll take different routes?
A few times a week I'll go and run the hills because I'm also training for Leadville coming up, the 100 miler. But typically, just for the ease and sake of like saving time, I'll just take off from my house, and that's pretty flat.
So when you're running and like it hurts, no? I mean, does it hurt you to push hard? To physically hurt?
Yep, every single time.
Yeah. So what is that? So I'm just because I think that that's so important to mention for people listening, that it's not that for guys like you that are putting in this work, that are really showing up and like taking ownership of, you know, a race or a competition. It's not that it doesn't hurt. It hurts, and you just continue to do it. Is there a certain point where you kind of just push through the pain and just kind of that you just lock in at that pace, and you're just like, this is the pace that I'm going to run at, and I'm just going to just deal with the pain the whole way through?
Of course. Yep. There's runs like that, but what I always tell myself, when I'm facing that pain and when it hurts really bad, I know that I'm going to be that much better for dealing with it like face on, head on. That's where you get better, is right there. If it's not bothering you at all, you're not uncomfortable, you're not really getting that much better. So if you feel that and harness it, and just know that like this is how greatness is achieved, this is where everyone else would quit. People don't want to get to this point. They want to just say that they went on their run and then, okay, I did what I needed to do, and then now I'm going to get home and then get on with my day. But for me, it's like, this is a chance to become great, and I need to take it serious, and I want it to be as hard as possible because I'm going to be that much better because of it. And it's not going to kill me. I know that. It is going to hurt, and I feel I'm not to a point to where I don't feel things anymore. Like people ask me for the pull-ups, or like, were you just like autopilot at that point? It's like, no, every single rep hurt. All 10,000. Every single one, I was like, ow, ow, you know. But that's not what I'm focusing on. I'm thinking about what I said I was going to do, the record, and how everyone else would have quit at this point, but not me.
I kind of think about this, you know, for me, it's not as much physically anymore in terms of like physical competition, although just speaking to you right now makes me want to go like rip my shirt off and barrel through brick walls, which I might do. But I kind of think about it in business now, right? Like for me, it's, you know, I'm building this business, Creatures of Habit, and it's hard as hell. It's super duper hard, and it's super painful, and there's a lot of stress, and there's a lot of like uh-ohs. You know, what happens? What could, you know, this could end up this way. And similarly, the way I kind of call it hunting the hurt, because if you're not hunting it, when it shows up, you're going to be scared and you're going to run the other way. Right? Like I think hunting that pain, hunting that fear, if you go in with the intention, like when you're hunting, the end goal of hunting is to kill something, right? Like you're hunting it. You're gonna find it.
Yep.
You're gonna hunt it. You're gonna put it in your crosshairs, and you're gonna pull the trigger, and hopefully, what was that? Was that a gunshot? So I'm talking about hunting, and this sounded like a blast. But I kind of call it hunting the hurt, because I do believe that if you can have that intention, where the hurt is actually what you're looking for.
Yep.
Because most people run from the hurt.
You gotta have that mentality.
What do you for people that, most people that listen to this podcast know who you are. For those listening, whether it's in business and family and a physical fitness thing, a mental challenge, whatever it is, like give a little piece of advice for those that are just like ready to just throw in the towel.
What I would say is every single person that's ever achieved anything great has had that feeling. Every person has doubted themselves. I've doubted myself a lot of times. And to get to the point of where I am now, that the 10,000 pull-ups, there was a lot of times where I was questioning why I was doing it, and also if I was able to do it, even just because I'm not really built for the records. Some would argue just because I'm a little bit heavier. Typically the guys are like lighter, whatever it is. I wasn't really, but I just knew that if I put in the work, then there'd be no denying it. That I would just get better, because that's how you get good at anything, is just, repetition. So I would say that the feelings that you have are completely normal. Everyone wants to quit. Everyone feels this pain. Everyone doesn't want to do the same thing every single day, but that's how you become great. Michael Jordan didn't become Michael Jordan by just simply existing. He put in the work every single day. Every day, no matter what it was, people weren't willing to do it, but he was. So just know that it is normal to feel like you want to quit, but as long as you don't quit, then you're not a quitter and you're not a failure. But yeah, it's just, that was hard for me to understand. For a long time, I was like, man, the fact that I'm even having these thoughts, I feel like a failure because of it. But as long as you don't act on it, you can become a winner.
How important is your nutrition?
Oh, it's very, very important. My wife and I, we eat like the same thing just about every single day. And it's just like if you eat for performance, you notice a huge, huge difference rather than just like chucking whatever it is in your body. Like a lot of people, I think they have a thought of, if I'm going for like a 20-mile run, I'm going to burn a bunch of calories. I'm going to be in a calorie deficit so I can eat whatever I want. And then it's not going to make a difference, because I just need to replenish with calories and carbs, whatever it is, to help me recover. If you can put in that amount of work and then also eat perfectly, it's amazing how much better you can become. So once I figured that out, like I would finish a 5,000 pull-up day, and instead of eating like a pizza or whatever it is, I would just go and eat my meat and rice, whatever it is, and then be absolutely dialed for the diet, and then be absolutely dialed for the training, and then I'd just be ready to go the next day. And then so if you can have those two things working harmoniously, there's no telling what you're able to accomplish. It's like I did 8,100. That took everything from me in 2023 to get the record the first time. Then I dropped like 10 pounds, dropped like 5% body fat, and for the 10,000. And it's crazy how much better I felt, just because everything from even to what I was eating to what I was drinking, everything. My wife was like my nutritionist during that, so big shout out to her. But we were just so dialed on the day of, to where it was like there was no doubt in my mind I was going to be able to crush it. So if you want to become the best at something, it's going to require everything from you, and that comes down to your diet as well.
Mm-hmm. Recovery, I would imagine recovery is like, it's got to be a part of your daily routine.
Yep.
What does your recovery stuff look like?
Well, my wife and I sleep a lot.
How much?
We're really good at sleeping. That's one thing that my wife prides herself on, is she's able to get like 10 hours of sleep a night.
Wow.
Yeah, it's like 9 to 10 hours every single night, and that's huge for recovery for us. Creature sleep, you make it, so you know how good it is, but I take it every single night, no matter where I am. I'll bring it with me. Just like I went to Knoxville, ran that marathon, I took it with me because I wanted to make sure that I could sleep the night before, because sleep is so important. But yeah, 9 to 10 hours every single night. Recovery for me.
What time do you guys go to bed?
Sleep about 9.
Mm-hmm.
9, wake up at 6, and then just get going, and then yeah, it's just, you got to make sure that you get sleep. It's insane how much better you feel if you get good sleep, especially consistently like that. And then when you're asking so much of your body, like I do every day, to perform these physical feats, if you don't have sleep, then yeah, it's going to be rough.
So do you think sleep is at the top of that recovery totem pole for you?
Definitely.
And then what about stretching, and do you do sauna, cold, things like that?
No, we're getting a sauna put in this weekend. But
Sweet.
As of right now, we haven't done any of that. The sleeping, I'll stretch every once in a while, not as much as I should. But yeah, it's just
Sleep.
Sleep is huge. And then you're eating the right way, huge.
Outside of Creature's sleep, which I'm grateful that you mentioned, but outside of Creature's sleep, do you have any sort of sleep hacks, sleep secrets that you can share? Because, I mean, dude, consistently 9 to 10 hours of sleep is spectacular. I mean, that's incredible.
Yeah.
I really do believe the real secret to sleep is just going to bed.
Yeah.
I think that's the real hack. Most people just really fight that.
Yeah.
You know, they fight going to bed.
And I think that is the biggest thing, is you got to go and lay in bed and pretend like you're sleeping before you actually fall asleep. So I won't lay there and like look at my phone or anything. And then or if I can't sleep immediately, I won't lay over and then look at my phone. I'm just going to force myself to just lay there at the very least, because if you're resting, and you're still going to feel rested in the morning. If you're just laying there for 10 hours, that's still you're still benefiting from that. But you eventually fall asleep. I mean, I eventually fall asleep. So yeah, it's just, if you can get yourself into bed, shut off the lights, and then you're good to go. I mean, I'll read right before bed, and then that always puts me out because I'm not the biggest fan of reading. So I'm just like, oh my gosh, I got to go to sleep, dude. Mm-hmm. So yeah, it's just, if you lay there, pretend like you're sleeping, you're going to fall asleep eventually.
Do you have a wind down routine that you kind of kick off before it's bedtime?
Yeah. So it'll be like 8:30. I'll make the creature sleep. I'll drink that, make it pretty hot to where because I try to stop eating a few hours before. And then so if you put something warm in your stomach, I feel like that kind of helps with the hunger pains. So
kind of sip it nice and slow too.
Sip it nice and slow. We'll sit there, let it kick in, and then we'll go to bed. I'll bust out the book. I'll read for, I don't know, probably like 10 or 20 minutes. And then by that time, I'm done reading. So I want to go to sleep. So then I go to sleep.
I think that I did 75 hard like a year and change ago, the beginning of 2024, I think. And you know, it forces you to kind of read. So I thought for me, I would just do the reading, because typically I will read early in the morning when I'm inside the sauna. Yep. But reading before bed is really like a shut her down. It's a shut her down. I think some people kind of get lifted up by reading, and you know, but for me, it's like,
those people are crazy.
Yeah. For me, after a couple of pages, I'm like, I have to read sentence 4 or 5 times.
Uh-huh.
I did just get diagnosed with ADHD, so that might have something to do with it.
Probably.
But I think that reading before bed is a great one.
Yeah.
It's a great one. It really does put you out.
Yeah, I mean, honestly, what it comes down to, rituals, routines, all that. Some would argue my life is pretty much the same day lived every day. I mean, and I love it. Personally, I love it. But if you can find a routine that works for you, and stick to it, it's amazing how good you can become at something.
One thing that I think I'd like to finish with, and for anybody that's listening, you know, I'm grateful that I'm sitting across the table from a guy who I can understand, in terms of just this idea that systems, consistency, patience, discipline, habits, rituals. At the end of it all, some people would look at that life and say, hell no. Mm-hmm. You might as well put me in jail. That sounds terrible. And for me, I think the guy that said it best of all time is Jocko Willink. And he said discipline equals freedom.
Yeah.
I mean, I got it tattooed on my hand because I heard that for the first time.
Yeah.
And I was like, that's it.
That is it.
That's it.
Yep.
I am free as hell. Mm-hmm. Because because I get done all the things that I know I have to do, and then I'm just like, it's full freedom.
Yeah.
Because there's nothing, there's like, it's just a win after a win after a win.
Yep.
That you can control, and I think until you experience that and live that, it's so hard to explain that to somebody who doesn't want to conform to a system. The thing is that the system is something that you can totally create yourself. Your system doesn't have to be my system. My system doesn't have to be your system. But living without a system is living in absolute chaos.
Yeah.
Living within a system is freedom.
I don't have to wonder what I'm doing every day. You know, a lot of people just sit there and they're like, well, what should I do today? It's like, I know exactly what I'm doing today. And it's awesome.
Yeah. Yeah.
And then, yeah, like you said, it's just stacking wins. Stacking little wins in a day, and then that whole day is a win. And then if you stack a lot of those in a row, it's amazing how much you can progress. So, I mean, that's how I was able to do 10,000 pull-ups in a single day. It wasn't just like a couple days here and there of like of effort. It was just every day I'm going to dedicate myself to getting better at this. It's like I don't know, you're probably too old to know SpongeBob.
I know. I mean, I got kids.
Okay. You know SpongeBob, but there's an episode where the only things that he knew were fine dining and breathing. He didn't even know his name. But for me, it was like I woke up and the only thing that I cared about was pull-ups and running. It was like I was trying to become a better runner and I was trying to get the record for pull-ups. That's the only thing that I was thinking about. That's the only thing I concerned myself with. And every day I would just try to get better. And I mean, again, people are like, wow, that's boring. It's like, no. I have a goal in mind and I want to get there. And this is how I do it. It's just every day. Wake up. I know exactly what I'm doing. And before you know it, you're going to become freaking good at those things.
And I think also the easier you can make decision making, like that's why I mean, meal one for me, legitimately, was what I had for breakfast, or what I have for breakfast, but have had for breakfast every single day for now close to 21 years. I mean, obviously there's days where I'm traveling or wherever, you know, but this morning, I mean, I take it with me everywhere. It just, that first part of my day with breakfast,
Yep.
the first thing I put into my body that a lot of people struggle with. A lot of people are like, what should I have for breakfast? I know I'm supposed to have high protein. I know I'm supposed to have something healthy. What should I have for breakfast? Should I make eggs? Should I, you know, like fixing that problem for people, starting with me, because that was like it was really just a game changer. When you make that, I kind of correlate it to, you know, if you're at a horse, you know, I mean, I don't really go to horse races, but I always have this vision in my mind, right? You're at the races, you're betting on a horse. The horses, you can just see them just like at the gate, just like ready to go. Gun goes off, gate opens up, horses fly out of the gate. Your horse trips on the way out. The chances of your horse that just tripped catching up to the other horses, very slim.
Yep.
Don't be the horse that tripped.
Yeah.
Don't be the horse that tripped. Set yourself up for success in the beginning of the day. Don't be the horse that's just like, damn, I f***ed up. I hit snooze. I ate a bagel and cream cheese.
Yeah.
I grabbed a donut. I didn't eat anything. And then I intermittent fasted and got so hungry by lunchtime that, man, I just took down everything in sight.
Or,
you know,
cereal, like Frosted Flakes, terrible.
Yeah, just, you know, don't be the horse that tripped.
Yeah.
You know, like I really do believe that meal one for me was a big game changer coming out of this dark place. But when it clicked for me, like, hey, I can give people a tool that can just like help them make life easier, but also optimize. You know.
Yeah.
Is that? Did you like have when you started eating meal one? Did it replace something, or like how did that fall into your routine?
Well, yeah, I think it only takes like 30 seconds to make the night before, and then if you can just save yourself decision making to start the day, and then you already know that you made a good decision for tomorrow. And if breakfast is a win, you can start your day on a win. Then your entire day is usually headed in the right direction. You can only go like up from there. Especially with, you know, the protein aspect of it, and then the good carbs to help me like get through my workouts. It's just huge to not have to think about what am I going to eat today again? What sounds good? I'm not sure. And then, I got to prepare something. It's like, it's already right there. You take it out of the fridge, you eat it, and then you're immediately on. Like, you have the right fuel. Now you can accomplish what you want.
Gives you freedom, dude.
Yeah.
It gives you freedom.
Yep.
It literally falls right in line with that sort of discipline equals freedom thing. It just so happens that it tastes really good.
Yeah, I agree.
This was so much fun, man. I mean, we've connected in the past, but like literally just hanging with you, I feel like a real sort of kindred spirit in the room, and I just, I'm inspired by you without a question of a doubt. I think you inspire thousands, most likely millions of people actually, which is a pretty incredible thing to be able to sit there as a humble dude and know that like this conversation someone's going to listen to, or many people are going to listen to, and then potentially change their lives, like to just change the perspective.
Yep.
Everybody hurts. Like that's what I got from this podcast.
Yep.
Sitting here interviewing you. Everybody hurts. Pain is consistently universal. Mm-hmm. It is real for everyone. Everybody doubts themselves. Michael Jordan, Muhammad Ali, Truett Hanes.
Jeez, I know I put myself in that company.
Everybody. Why not, dude? Everybody experiences this stuff.
Yep.
It's not unique. It's not. It doesn't just define failure. It's just what are you willing to do to get through it, knowing that it's temporary.
Nothing worth doing is absent of pain. So that's just, you got to tell yourself that.
Let's finish on that, dude. You're the man. Where can people follow along if they're not following already? YouTube, Truett Hanes, Instagram, just Truett. Not just do it, but just Truett. My man, thank you so much for being on the show.
Great meeting you.
You too.